more fully, six-step recognition, yeah.
This next process that we'll get engaged in is a process that was revealed to me a few years ago when I was going through something really difficult in my life, in my process, and my spiritual path, and it was in relationship to another person. And I realized that the issue kept coming up for me over and over again, and I was getting nowhere with it. I was trying my best to live in mutuality and speak it to others, especially with Samuel, and deal with it as best I could, but it just seemed to continue to have what I like to use, the image of a chokehold over me. I was not getting anywhere with it. And one day I was feeling very exhausted just from ruminating over it, you know, just sitting with it over and over again and just feeling hopelessly ineffective in changing it or shifting it. So I decided to take a bit of a nap. I slept for a little while, and as I was waking up, I was lying in bed, and it was kind of a reverie in between awake and asleep. And all of a sudden, in my mind's eye, I saw, see it, feel it, live it, be it, transcend it. Literally just bam, all at once, just landed it there. And I sat straight up in bed and I went, that's it, around the issue that I was dealing with. I saw it, and you have to understand, this all happened in a second. I identified the problem or the issue that was up for me, very clear, because I had been thinking about it for a long time. I started to feel into the impact that it had on me and had continued to have on me physically and emotionally for a while. And see it, feel it, live it, be it, they kind of go hand in hand together. I realized that by living it fully, by not trying to fix it or manipulate it or to do something about it, just allow it to be, enabled me to land more fully in it as the issue, embody it more fully. And so I realized as I was feeling into the aspect of more of the speaking of it, going directly to this person and getting engaged in a different kind of communication, that would be part of the living of it. Feeling the effects as I considered that, I became the issue. I allowed it to just sweep over me so fully that I realized I've been approaching this in an odd way, and now this feels very different to me. This feels like I'm actually allowing it to be just what it is, and I can see aspects of it more clearly, and I actually don't feel that chokehold around the issue any longer, because things started falling into place as I became it, as I lived it and became it in those moments. And so the fifth step that showed up in that reverie was transcend it. And what it meant to me was I was actually transcending the effects of the issue. I was transcending that chokehold aspect of what I was dealing with in relationship to this other person. It didn't mean that the issue went away, and I knew that there were further conversations I had to have and other ways of dealing with it, but there was a feeling sense that something had dramatically shifted in how I was being with the issue at hand. And so I sat there, and a smile came to my face, and I just jumped out of bed, and I was all excited. I just really felt this fundamental shift, and I went into the kitchen, and I told Samuel what had happened, and I said, it's just, see it, feel it, live it, be it, transcend it, it's just right there. And I feel so differently about this issue. And he said that he was amazed, and you can share what you felt, what it was, but he was so happy that he could see that something really shifted in me. He said, can I add a sixth step to it? And I said, sure. And he said, speak it. Speak it all along the way at appropriate moments. And that was it. The whole 6 steps just landed. And the speaking is also part of the living it. The living of an issue would be, an example would be animating it, bringing it into life, going to the person and having a conversation. Or if that's not available, and you're feeling frustrated, beat a pillow or go scream in your car. These are all appropriate actions that help us embody and feel the feelings that are linked to any cutting edge or issue that might be up in our lives at any given moment. And to discover your own unique ways of living it is really important. It can show up in different ways. Yes?
Doesn't that encourage more anger if you're feeling angry about something, or is that what you're trying to do?
Thank you. That is what you're trying to do in some manner. I'm not saying go to the person and slug the person by any means. I'm really encouraging the full feeling. If anger is arising and you have suppressed it for so long, it's going to continue to appear, and that's what was happening for me. I suppressed it, I deflected from it, I didn't want to acknowledge it, and then as this was revealed to me, I realized, no, I have to feel this fully. I have to live it and be that anger, not at the person. I processed it in my own way. And then I did express some anger at the person in an appropriate manner, and we had our conversation. But this is something that is a misconception sometimes for spiritual people, spiritual seekers. If you're truly being spiritual, you don't express anger. You never show anger. You should just be calm and transcend the effects of anger. And in reality, as these human bodies move in the world and they encounter individuals that sometimes push our buttons, we have to animate that anger. Now, there are appropriate means of animating the anger, obviously. So for me, I cried about it. I shouted in my room privately. I allowed it to manifest. I felt it fully. I felt it in my body. I would talk to Samuel about it. And I did speak to this person that I was having the issue with, processed it somewhat there, and it seemed to take that, again, that chokehold of how it was controlling me. It no longer controlled me in the same way. So this is, the six-step recognition yoga is a way in which every body can actually feel fully and be the feelings, senses, and the emotions that might arise for any particular thing that's current in your life. Now, I also want to say that the process is not just about cutting edges in difficult places or broken zones or conflict. It works beautifully for when you're feeling particularly joyful and very grounded and blissful, perhaps. You can accentuate that feeling of joy through the six-step recognition process. In fact, recently I did a conference call with a group of people, and I took them through an abbreviated guided meditation of the 6 steps, and one woman didn't have an issue up, so she used joy. And at the end, I asked for comments and sharing time, and she had said, it actually did bring the joyful feeling more in my body and more in my heart, and I was able to feel it even more fully. So that's an important thing to mention. This works really well for issues that are up, but it also will accelerate and accentuate the joyful, graceful periods as well. So see it, feel it, live it, be it, transcend it in place. Transcend it in place, that's the difference. It's still there, but the effect is different. And speak it all along the way at appropriate moments. So that's a kind of an abbreviated introduction to six-step recognition yoga. Do you want to add anything to that?
Well, yeah, when Linda brought it to my attention, it was, to me, extraordinary because I've done many years of study in the Oriental traditions